Hello, welcome to my program on the Environment Capstone Symposium presentation. My name is Gia-Bao Tang, and the title of my poster is Partnering for Progress, Improving Collaboration for Successful Food Recovery Program. The reason my capstone project is important is because it is centered around the issue of food waste and its impacts on the environment and food insecurity. When food is wasted, thrown out, uneaten, it not only costs money, but also the resources used to produce it. And as food accumulates in landfills, it takes a huge toll on the environment through its major greenhouse gas emissions. And in terms of food insecurity, which this presentation defines as a lack of access to sufficient food, food waste can further gap food insecure communities to food access by throwing away potential produce and thus meals that could be used to feed hungry people. With more communities suffering for food insecurity and food waste threatening the environment, food recovery programs like my host organization, Fair Starts, have become increasingly important to divert food waste from going to waste and redistributing it for human consumption to people who need it most. Fair Starts food recovery program collects food from farms and organizations through donations and gleaning and uses it in their hunger relief programs for emergency meals, shelters, permanent housing, support, and quarantine sites, and has helped feed many food insecure communities, as shown in Figure 1 with their community mobile market. However, these programs and organizations that partner with them face challenges with funding, infrastructure, and labor that decreases efficiency of the programs to gather rescuable, unused food and decrease output of hunger relief to communities. And so I asked the questions, what are the inefficiencies of food recovery programs from the perspectives of partner organizations? And what strategies can be implemented to address these obstacles? I investigated this by assisting in Fair Start's daily food recovery operations, such as gathering and distributing, to determine components of their food recovery partnerships like Fair Start would like to understand better. I then visited Fair Start's partner organizations at their food recovery sites, as you can see in Figure 2, to validate the questions I want to ask them and see if they are experiencing and observing difficulties within the program. Through these methods, I was able to develop an appropriate and effective interview questions, which I asked during formal interviews with 7 of Fair Start's food recovery programs. I additionally conducted research and literature reviews on existing assessments and studies on food recovery programs to contextualize and support my findings. And to answer the first question, what I found is that although partners reported that they were satisfied with the work and successes they were able to accomplish partnering with Fair Start, averting food waste, and providing hunger relief, they also addressed 3 main areas of inefficiencies that I identified after synthesizing the responses. As you can see in Figure 3, these inefficiencies are an unreliable volunteer base that affects the ability to harvest, glean, gather, and an unclear communication on coordination and integrity of recovered food that affects the partnership relationship, and funding for nonprofit partner organizations that have difficulties financially, given their nonprofit model and the potential financial losses associated with donations. And to answer the second question, I use information I gathered from partner responses, information I synthesized from research and studies, and feedback from my host organization to determine strategies food recovery programs could implement that would help ensure longevity and sustainability of both food recovery programs and the partner organizations to continue operating. These are a shared volunteer network between partners and food recovery organizations that could be used to coordinate and provide volunteers for any food recovery activity, and increase public awareness on volunteer opportunities through social media, marketing to increase the reliability of the volunteers. Donation reviews and receipts sent to donors and food recovery partners could help increase integrity of the donations, as it will provide information on how the food is used, for which programs they are using, and who receives the recovery. This will help food recovery programs understand the impact their food recovery has or their donations have on the community, and could help strengthen the relationship between food recovery programs and the organizations. Secondly, participating in additional services other than donations can increase the partner's income and budget, uh, importantly, and so that they continue operating and continue providing the services they do through donations to the food recovery program. And overall, my findings suggest that or the support the findings that recovered food is a primary source of meals provided by hunger relief organizations for low-income, vulnerable, disadvantaged communities. Through my experiences with the community, I see that Fair Start has provided a lot of hunger relief for many communities, and many communities depend on programs like these to have healthy, fresh food um, that they are not able to get through either uh, financial hardships or being located in a food desert. And so food reco program food recovery programs like Fair Starts help the community not only have um, fresh food, but also to help improve their quality of life. As we see, sufficient food can help improve a lot of parts of life. More assessments on food recovery programs are needed as metrics and measured outcomes are inconsistent across evaluations. Through findings in my own interview questions, I found implications and lack of metrics used. Um, there are other metrics like nutrition and um, interviewing other stakeholders, such as the recipients themselves, to understand better on the effects these programs have. And my project is only limited on three main aspects, but there are more aspects of food recovery programs that need to be investigated and understand the effectiveness of these programs. And overall, improving food recovery program starts with getting feedback from all stakeholders across the entire food recovery network to identify areas for opportunities and address difficulties. If food recovery programs limit their success and effectiveness on just weight and amount of food gathered, then they ignore areas that could be more important, more detrimental to the success of the program, and thus uh, not be able to alleviate the environmental issues associated with food waste, and also the ability to provide hunger relief to insecure communities. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I wanted to give special thanks to Fair Start, my site supervisors Danny and Ainsley, and the innovation team Bryce, Emily, Rachel, Matt, and Avi, and also my faculty advisor Eli, the environmental cohort, my friends, my family, my partner, and of course my cats for all the support.